From architecture to music, technology to video games, clothing and film, it feels as though these mediums are either losing their creative minds, being allowed the space to express their ideas without having them being watered down or thrown out completely because gotta meet a quota. Capitalism, am I right? Make the most milquetoast product, the most palatable song, and dish it out to the masses because it's safe. It's a guaranteed way of succeeding and making money. Maybe succeeding in profit margins, but the consequences of this are that there are no risks really being taken anymore. Everyone is too afraid to go against the grain. Maybe due to feeling like everything has already been done before, so what's the point? Or even worse, because it's not the popular thing to be doing. Square boxes, soulless rectangles, Squidward Bill. Places of shared comfort have become rather bland, non-memorable spaces that the general public absolutely loathes. Yet, for some reason, big corporations continuously push this generic, repetitive blank of life slop onto us. I mean, why is that? Why is the world slowly losing color? Why are we not seeing cool, creative designs anymore? Where have all the silly McDonald's gone? It kind of feels almost as if we are being punished for merely existing. You don't really see good craftsmanship anymore, and don't even get me started on pride one takes in their work, because you have to meet a quota these days. If you have something cool and fun in mind, completely forget about that. We need more beige. We need more grey. We need more hospital white. It also feels as though that the lack of color that we're seeing these days is done in an effort to keep us pretty much docile. I know that may be a little bit dramatic, maybe a little bit of a reach, but for example, think of whenever you hear the sad beige family influencers talk about the reason for their kids not having a Fisher and Price toy car. It's because the painted beige sad bunny toy won't evoke a reaction nor emotion from said sad child. The child won't feel that very human whimsy joy. The child will feel a constant state of nothing, and I don't think that's a good thing, because not only is it happening to the kids, but it's happening to the adults, man. You know, I thought it's gonna be so fun when I grow up, and you know, it has nothing to do with paying the bills, paying the rent. Okay, I just want to experience this, okay? I am so tired of constantly walking into a mall, walking past a building, and it's all the same glass panels, same ass font, and it's like, where are we going as a society? Why is this being stripped away from us? The more we move away from color and creative expression through architecture, the less warm fuzzy memories we have to romanticize. And I'm sorry, but I think it's really fucking important to have times that you look back on that are like, oh, remember that Xbox demo machine inside of the McDonald's when we were waiting for our Happy Meals? How sick was that? And now you go into a McDonald's and there's 2 tablets in the corner. Like genuinely, nobody is having fun anymore. And I hate that. I hate that the next generation of kids are growing up in a time where they don't really matter. Their experiences don't matter. Making good memories doesn't matter. Color doesn't matter. Fun doesn't matter. And it's like, guys, what? Like, I keep coming back to this question. What is going on? Think of when you remember a video easy trip. The simplicity of those good memories. The color, the textures, the vibes, the aura. Going into Macca's after the pool and having a well thought out experience of playing the fun kid video games whilst waiting for your beloved Happy Meal. So much color, so much life, so much creativity into making these spaces appealing to the consumer. Now, do we feel this way because childhood memories, am I right? Oh, so fun, so whimsy, so much joy. Because I mean, of course, right? You're going to romanticize those memories when you were a kid because you had absolutely no worries in the world. You were a child. Your parents was thinking about everything else. But hey, let me put my hands in the air because you know what? I don't care. I don't necessarily think it's any of that. Thank you very much. I am a renter. Alright, so my options are pretty much slim pickings. We got Square Box, we got Millennial Influencer Grey, and Squidwardville. Or my favorite! My absolute favorite, beige rectangle number 92. On top of that, the houses that were built with incredible craftsmanship and pride and creative imaginations are being torn and ripped to shreds by people who want square boxes and beige rectangle. It's really disheartening to see that because houses just are not built that way anymore unless you have millions of dollars in your pocket, which the average person doesn't have. So I always get confused when I see these videos because I'm like, you know, the square box house that you want, that is so much cheaper just to buy instead of, you know, knocking down this and knocking down that. I hate yous. I hate yous all, thanks. So maybe there isn't as many people as we think who want a unique home or to see color everywhere outside. And let's not pretend too that we are just okay with the fact that so many places of comfort from a time where it seems like it was really important to give an experience to the consumer, you know, actually worked for the consumer's dollar, now is the complete opposite. Corporations do not care about giving you fun experience walking through their shop door floors. They do not care because they know people are going to come in anyways and buy their slop. Hot Topic, for some reason, looks like a Bed Bath & Body. And then you step in and it's Funko Pop galore. So much fun! Why did this haven for alternative people that took pride in being different and unique with their outward appearances kill their own vibes for the sake of being more palatable for people that weren't their audience to begin with? Every single store, every single company, every single brand wants to be the exact same as each other because it's more profitable to be a blank canvas that anybody can attach themselves to rather than setting themselves apart because there's not enough alternative people. There's not enough of these kind of people for us to survive. Yes, there are! Yeah! Aside from being in a cost of living crisis and the fact that, of course, people have moved to online shopping as opposed to going in person and buying their stuff. I gotta stop saying slop. One of the biggest factors as to why you're seeing so many stores from the past shutting down is because they lost their aura. What does that mean? They compromised their brand, they compromised their audience, made something exactly the same as every other store, and now they're wondering why they're suffering liquidation. They're wondering why they're like, why aren't as many people coming into our stores anymore? You know, everyone's gonna have a lulling period, you know, where they're not as popular, they're not as relevant. But I feel like with anything really, once they lose where they came from, like that is completely it. I go back to Hot Topic because it's such a good example of a company that doesn't care about its base audience anymore. And I don't care. You can say, oh, well, Drama Queen is called Hot Topic for a reason because, you know, this is the hot topic. That just, I'm sorry. No. Like, you're telling me that I'm never gonna have that Hot Topic experience that people used to have back in the 90s and the early 2000s. And now it's this? These capitalists who push this bleak concept onto the masses are damaging our natural whimsy. I'm sorry. You want to lecture me, a mall enjoyer, as to why malls are dying? Oh, it's online shopping, it's this, it's that, it's the third. But are failing to understand the fundamental importance of having an experience of the product that we're consuming. That's why it's kind of hard to sympathize with malls becoming a thing of the past, because just create a vibe again. Make people want to come into your store and spend their money. EB Games is a terrible offender of this as well because, again, it's mainly this wall of Funko Pop bullshit that's gotten so dated so fast, not to mention the innate experience these companies gave people because, believe it or not, they actually cared about us at one point. They did. And you know why? Because they actually had to work for our money. Whereas, we're living in such like an overconsumptious era where people will buy shit just for the sake of spending their money, not because they have an attachment to it or it has sentimental value. Nah, you're only nostalgic for the past as you can't move on. Capitalists are slowly but surely destroying historical places, such as that one Apple store out in LA at the Tower Theater. Like, why the are y'all even there? Clean goth this and it's a black shirt. Clean girl that and it's a white shirt. Clean this, clean that. Clothing has become an extremely diluted product. You walk into an H&M and it is clearly geared towards those who are TikTok trend hoppers. And you go into a JJ's, Factory, Supre, Glassons, Cotton On even, and I swear to you, they are all the exact same store, just different name attached to it. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why they sell the exact same beige, white, gray clothing. They sell the exact same TikTok trends. And it's like, can we have an identity here? Can we get something else? Because it tastes awful. But Drama Queen, you've got to understand literally all of those stores are owned by the same company. Well, it doesn't explain why only just 5 or 6 years ago, they were completely different from one another. JJ's and Factory was alternative leaning. Meanwhile, you had Supre that leaned towards being super girly. Think your older cousin in the 2000s going out clubbing all of the time smelling like cheap Britney Spears perfume. And I feel like Glassons was always geared towards those Serena from Gossip Girl type of girls. Now, you walk into any of them and they all sell the exact same thing. Here's your slop again. Things that you don't actually want whatsoever. And it's been the exact same going on for 4 years now. And I am so tired of it. Among the complaints from people saying that everything looks the exact same as each other no matter what store you walk into at the moment, I think it's also important to note the current fashion trends have not really changed for a couple of years. And that's more so talking about the mainstream fashion trends, what you see inside of, your regular mainstream stores every other day, like H&M, Zara, etc. But all of these stores have collectively lost their identity to once again placate absolutely everybody. Oh, where do you find a plain white shirt? Literally at all of these joints. Minimalism seems to be back in full force at the moment, and it seems to be for the most part because it is relatively cheap. That is something that literally everybody has in their wardrobes, including myself. Do I? I almost fibbed there. I think that I have a few just like plain black tops and whatnot, but for the most part, I am somebody who loves in-your-face outfits. Even a t-shirt, I need that t-shirt to be in your face. A lot of what we used to see, even only just as little as 5 years ago, still had a lot of volume, texture, pattern, creative design, thought, and even color. Now, that may be highly hypocritical hearing that from somebody who wears mainly black. I am absolutely aware of that, don't you worry, babes. However, something that I am loving at the moment, and whenever I'm op shopping, I'm trying to keep my eye out for these pieces, but hot pink, leopard print, zebra print, just anything that has a lot of stuff on it. It is so hard to find because everything is the same. Every single store without failure has the same beige cropped tops, the exact same bootleg cut jeans. Are y'all okay? Or do you just not care anymore. I think it's just so frustrating to me because back in the 2000s, '01 baby rot here, I used to be so jealous of seeing, my older cousins or women in my family who were wearing certain pieces of clothing, and I was like, oh my God, I really can't wait to grow up and get that. But now it's really hard to find because it's either on Depop marked as vintage and it's $200 for some reason. And it's mainly because these pieces are becoming a lot more rare due to the fact that you can't find it anywhere in person. None of the mainstream stores are selling it today. And then they're like, wonder why those vintage stores are super popular. Yeah, well, start actually producing quality for a start. Nobody is going to be coming back to 2022, 23, 24, and 25 at the rate we're currently going at because nothing really special has come of these years. It's partly reason as to why people miss 2020 fashion so much. Think highly saturated photos, bright pinks and greens, lots of color, lots of layering, and lots of texture. You saw so many people experimenting at that time because people were just still being them, dude. Like, people also at that time still weren't brainwashed into constantly performing for social media, like having to dress like everybody else, having to be the same as everybody else, giving up your quirks and what makes you unique because, oh my God, so cringe, am I right? Skinny jeans are back, but I'm too afraid to wear them. Like, then don't be you, dude. And that's like, being yourself doesn't mean you have to go like all crazy and, dress extravagant and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of people do like that just everyday basic wear. That's totally fine. But I feel really kind of just annoyed that it's pushed onto literally everybody. That I don't think is fair. Or what about the 2020 alt kids? I mean, you had tweens turning into young teenagers, feeling what it was like for the very first time in their lives, expressing themselves in what was the most authentic way to them. Bunny hats, big ass demonias, pink plaid skirts. It was the very last year where people did not care about cringe culture or much of what people thought because we were all having a collective experience. Being between four walls 24/7 trying to find something better to do, let alone find out who we are and what we like, and not really caring about what people said. After all, we're all just on a spinny bowl. People took risks with their fashion choices. The desire was still so ever present for unique and quirky. Companies at the minute are cutting corners any way they can. Since the rise of fast fashion, such as websites like Shein, Pretty Little Thing, Boohoo, and whatnot, the quality of a garment down to what the garment is just completely lost on them. Why the are clothes these days more soulless than the companies pumping them out? Polyester fabric seems to be quite the popular choice amongst these companies because it's fast and cheap and easy to quickly produce to get out onto the floor. When bows came back into trend on TikTok, it was actually disgusting to see the amount of shops capitalizing off of that. It's like, it's one thing for something to be a trend, but it's another when that's all you see for months on end. It's like, did you guys produce so much that you weren't able to sell because you don't really realize that what's on TikTok isn't really what's popular in real life, and it's actually not what the people want at all? And here's the thing too, it's also smarter for these companies to have a business model where it forces you to consume at least 20 garments a month, because back when quality and pride was taken in clothing, people just weren't buying as much because they didn't really need to. That clothing was so cool, but now not so much. Cause like, I'm sorry, not everybody wants this ugly ass cropped, muted, blush pink that looks like shit with everything. Please, for the love of the universe, get rid of the crop tops and spaghetti straps and start actually working for our money again. Like, we the people need to start protesting against these companies for not giving us what's good enough, because they aren't. These companies are so quick to not only just overproduce clothes, but it looks like shit, it feels like shit, And it is shit. When I'm out shopping, Madam Mall, and the rare time I'm like, I'm curious as to if there is anything cunty for me to, you know, buy and wear later tonight. I want to wear the absolute shit out of something till it's dust. I am always disappointed because the current trends absolutely suck. It's almost like everything fun, everything colorful, everything that has creativity or remotely texture is just being sucked out of everything. And again, I'm always asking the question as to why. And I saw that so many people have been saying, guys, it's because it's more cost effective for these companies to do. That's why we're seeing an uptick in white cars at the moment, because for these car companies, it is less expensive to produce a white car rather than a red, blue, purple one. Taking the fun out of fashion and having no thought put into it whatsoever is why we're currently seeing the decline of excitement from people in general when it comes to clothes. Because what exactly can you build with blue jeans and white shirt? I mean, it's gonna look the same no matter what, unless you take a Sharpie, unless you take some scissors to that shit, but people, you know, just in general aren't doing that. And for the most part, maybe it is a good thing that people stop purchasing clothes for a while because we have enough textiles to last us for the next 6 generations. I think mainly where my frustration comes from is that things used to be so creative. People used to have a lot more of a say when it came to what patterns there were on a piece of clothing. But because people are just so judgmental, for example, on social media, they're like, that's tacky, that looks like it's from Shein. Meanwhile, it's a shirt from the 2000s. Shein are the ones that appropriated that to begin with. I don't know, I've been thinking about this topic for so long now, and this is going to be the first part of my series as to why is everything boring now? Because it is a genuine question that I have. Because it isn't a diss towards anybody who enjoys quote unquote boring in general. Everything just feels so uninspired recently, and I'm not sure why that is. Like, is there a policy against everything at the moment that everything has to be boring and, you know, means nothing? Otherwise, the humans have whimsy and fun again. Oh my god, no. So with all of that being said, everybody, let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Have you yourself been noticing that creativity, quirks, and uniqueness have kind of just been slowly stripped away from things over time? Let me know your story down in the comment section below, or email me at dramakweensubmissions@gmail.com. Thank you so much for your time today, Yappersville. I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and most of all, love your fucking selves.